And we are live. Welcome back to another episode of On the King's Dime, Wednesday night special tonight. A podcast on the eve of the playoffs that start tomorrow. I think the other games, I don't know, some other teams are playing, and then we play the Hawks on the Friday and the Sunday. But yeah, we're here to talk about that and the finish to the season and a few other things, little playoff preview, talk a little bit about some of the awards. I think some awards happened, so we'll have a quick chat about those. But yeah, as always, you can, we are on Facebook right now live. You can listen to us in replay on Facebook or on YouTube. And then if you want to listen to us in audio format, then you can go to Apple Podcasts, to Google Podcasts, and onto Spotify or the Anchor platform. And grab us from any RSS feed that gives you an RSS feed and have a listen to us in audio format, and give us a like, rating, and review, and subscribe to us because that helps us get out there to more Kings fans. And we will see you guys next. No, just kidding. We got some games to talk about. A couple of meaningless games to end the season. We had finals wrapped up. Though, you know, a pretty big clash against the Hawks. There's definitely plenty to talk about there. But we'll start with the Taipans game on Friday. Friday, was it? It was.
It was a Friday or Thursday?
21st. It says here. It's been so long. My brain.
It was a Thursday game. That's what I thought. Thursday game.
Yeah. 3,150 attended that game. That's pretty large for the Taipans. But yeah, it was
for a dead rubber.
It was a game that happened, and Jalen Adams is out with COVID, and Drew Martin off the back of that, missing that game against Adelaide. He was also out with COVID on that, but he's back now. Obviously, we'll talk about that. But yeah, another just game where we take care of business. Another game for Ian Clark. Played well. Cooks played well. Yeah,
man. DJ played well. They all played well. A good depth game to get some of the bench riffraff involved, and it showed that we could put away teams even without our best stars in full flight. You wouldn't think Joel Martin would be in tip-top shape last weekend, coming off the back of a respiratory disease that's killed 6.5 million people. So you put it like that.
He had it though, right? He definitely had it.
Yeah,
or was it just protocol?
No, he had COVID.
Yeah,
you don't go into COVID protocol with COVID. He's Jim Adams. Let me just look this up.
Yeah, I'm just looking it up now because I'm a bit behind on the news. Oh look, he's won an award. Isn't that fantastic? We'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, this Taipans game was interesting. I've said a lot about 40's team this season. They faced some adversity. They lost Scott Machado a few weeks ago. Totally ruined my end to the tipping in that game. Could have had a perfect round in that game. But again, a bit of a disappointing season for them. It was nice for us to give them the handle. I'm still surprised they don't play Nate Jawai as much as they should. And, I've said a lot about 40. I just feel like that team is us last year. Not necessarily as bad, but it does the same things. And you could tell our team is a lot more sophisticated watching the two teams come up against each other. This Kings team at the moment is way more sophisticated. There's a lot of high-low. There's a lot of pick and roll. And as a team, the Taipans haven't really defended that pick and roll well this season. And, there's no reason why we shouldn't win a game like that pretty handily. And then, we ended up doing that. It was a little rough in the third quarter. It was a 19-6 third quarter. But again...
Yeah, 40's teams always had that one quarter where they couldn't score. That's consistent with bad lineups. I mean, I think 40 was thrust into the spotlight last season, but you can tell, last season, Cairns are having the same issues as Sydney had last year. One quarter, the lineups just didn't work, and 28 games deep into a season, you'd think by now that we would have kind of figured that out. Also, the team's roster wasn't, I think, put together quite well. There's obviously some injury concerns with Machado and quite annoying not playing last couple of games, but I like Cairns. I've got a soft spot for Cairns. You know what I mean? I want them to do well and succeed. Could not give two shits about Melbourne's, but I want Cairns to. When Cairns was in the playoffs, I was like, yeah, this is mad. Like, I like this small market team, kind of like our home away from home. They're not hateable at all. They're lovable. Like, love Big Nate, and it's just not a well constructed team. There's not any shooters in there. Machado's not really a shooter. He's kind of get to the mid range and push, and then just get calls. So maybe next year 40 can come back and construct a bit of a better team. That team 3 seasons ago with DJ Newell and Space Cam, and that was a good team. Like, that had some real points to it. But they've just kind of, I think, found a couple of good pieces, but they need to kind of build on that. Zimmerman, I just like, this is not some bad big league this year. Was not a fan.
It's funny because that old Cairns team kind of mirrored the Perth team a little bit, like, all-star type point guard, a really good big, and a really good kind of chub wing. Like, remember that when they had Tarico White and Cotton and Mooney and stuff like that before that. It seems to be that 3-man thing that happens in the league, where if you get three really good guys that you can put together a season, like kind of Lamar Patterson was a little bit like that about 10 years ago, maybe a bit earlier than that. But I don't know, it feels like the league in general is becoming less like that. Like, it's like you can't just have 3 guys now that are really good and then you just build a team around those 3 guys. It feels like you got to build more of a team and this team in general. Like, Majok Deng, he's been decent all season, but he's not a guy you can really rely on. Keanu Pinder's kind of like, third tier, bordering on second tier, moving from Adelaide to Cairns. So that's, you can't really shop in those bargain bins and get a player like that. And then you kind of look at the rest of their team, like Jeric didn't really play that much this season. Still had like did you see that late shot clock? I think it was a shot clock violation, and he absolutely like flat missile this 3, and it hit the front of the rim. Like, it was like a missile. It was flat. And it was like, what on earth? And then, like, guys like Jared Kenny, Natai. But Bull Qual, man, like, just sneaky, let's swoop in and grab him in his 3rd year or second year. I think he's a rookie this year. Like, let's just sneakily grab him on this team, Sydney team.
McCall was pretty good throughout the season. Bull Qual, quite annoyed. They've got little pieces. They're just a little bit away from anything. And I think you have to go external. I think Machado's had his time in the sun. I wouldn't go back to him.
I've kind of had enough of seeing him whinge a lot. And then you kind of go, man, enough with the whinging. All right, like, we get it. But at least, like, turn that into something. And he hasn't really been able to turn that into something other than that one season where they made the finals. Oh, the playoffs rather than finals. And that's when it's time to move on. But again, like, if the Cairns ownership back 40 and they can kind of recreate something in that team, like, I still like look at this league now and the way it's developing, the amount of teams, the way teams are kind of building these thicker rosters that actually have 4 or 5 guys that are decent, and it's more of a system based setup.
Well, you look at the Jack Jumpers who've put this really a bit of a riff-raff team together, but you've got like a 6-man in Clint Steindl coming off the bench. And I think that was a smart move. Like, if you're going that deep, right, you've got your starting line. I think Magnay has gotten better this year after a terrible couple of seasons after his departure to the NBA. And then you've got Clint Steindl coming off the bench. Jared
Weeksy, yeah, redemption for Weeksy. Something happened to your audio, I think. You just cut out. What's going on?
Better season. Guy just died there.
Yeah, I think your internet's a bit on the fritz. But yeah, just quickly on that Jack Jumpers team, just ski masks. Pull that ski mask down, mate, and get into that final spot over Perth. a little burglary from the Jack Jumpers. It's great to see. I was contemplating, a little chest thumping over Perth finally not making the finals for the first time in 675,000 years or something since the Paleolithic era. They've made the finals every year. But it's like, okay, cool. I think it really says more about the wider league in the fact that we've got a few of these teams now that are a lot more well-rounded and a lot more coherent as teams that can string wins together. And it isn't just like, I think breaking up that four team kind of, obviously the Kings haven't been that top spot over the last 5-6 years, like steadily. But the Perth, Melbourne type two-way kind of ownership of two of those final spots. It's really good to have another team, even if it wasn't the Jack Jumpers. Like even if it was just another team, like you would still have been like, yeah, good. It's good to get some fresh blood in there. I think Phoenix, you look at that team and just go, that's probably a disappointing end to their season. They probably should have made the finals, but where they kind of finish is a bit of a disappointment for them. But they did get that nice win at the end there to seal the fate. That was a crazy game, the end of that game. But yeah, it was a good end of the season. And then we'll talk quickly about. Should we quickly do 3-2-1s? My brain is just
for the
fried.
Yeah, no worries.
Keep going. So we'll do 3-2-1.
3-2-1. I would say
Clarkey.
Cooks.
I'm going Clark for 3.
Clark 2. And for 1, I'm going to go DJ.
Yeah, DJ for me too. You've still got a fair few to put in
Tommy
there.
V had a good game.
Tommy V,
yes,
actually, he did come off the bench and played well. It's against that team. That's actually, we should quickly just talk about that. Against that team, that's kind of where he fits. Like, doesn't he fit really well in the, right, I can just be an extra hustle guy, a size guy. The smaller size guards defend a little bit at the perimeter and then also kind of, defend downhill. And he also had his just like, he played defense. So therefore it was a foul in that game as well. Did he? Yeah, that one foul. And it just like turned around, played defense, and it was just like, that's a foul. You played defense. But I think he's going to be huge, man, against the Hawks if he plays significant minutes. He played 18 minutes in this game. Who knows what the roster's going to look like going into this final series or the playoff series.
Mr. Buford has gone to him more as the season has come along for that to insert into those lineups where they need good screen setters because he's pretty sharp and his finishing around the rim's not that bad, so he can kind of hit the roll pretty well as well. Still makes some Gumby decisions from time to time, but it is what it is. For a guy that was kind of injury cover, has never worked his way into a roster. I think very well worked his way into this league. I think he could get a bigger role in any team that'll have him. I think he's done quite well to carve out his niche in this league, and it's good to see him. But I think he will be an important part of this postseason. He'll be an important part for Melbourne as well, because really we do need those Chubb lineups, especially for Garter plays, because they just get into the mid-range so easily. And you can kind of fight around those screens in Chubb. Dwakala Bullock, I've decided, has not given us the... He's just not giving us he's not giving us the offense-defense balance. He's kind of a liability on offense now. He's the first 5 games, he played really well, and it's just like out of nowhere, just like you can't finish around the rim, you can't finish in transition, the threes aren't going. Like you're looking to pass out of easy drives. It's a little bit bad to watch. He's just lost his mojo, and I hope that he gets it back somehow. Although I think it's hard to gain in the postseason when you're kind of just trying to get the ball to the big guys. But Tommy V being thrown fire, and just let's quickly just talk about Sean Bruce.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, then that's it. We can move on now.
No sound effects, no noises, no. Man, I'm worried about him because he looks a step slow even against that Taipans team. I was like, man, are you even like worthy of coming back? Like, holy moly, you know what I mean?
Yes, it's super duper worry.
Still, I kind of think.
Still what? Still Creek?
Stillwater, Credence Stillwater Revival. He's in a decent enough spot now that we've got like if Jalen Adams is back, we've got that reinforcement in, the Glover, Wani, Clark type little little 3-man that can just go, it's okay, Shawnee, you can play 8 minutes. It's all good. Whereas it's not just like, Shawnee's back. We need him to play 23 minutes. Like, he has to play. Like, we don't have guards. Bring him in. Like, at least we can kind of keep him out of the lineup. I know we're talking like he's absolutely useless, but you know, he could come back and give us something real in the finals. But his form over the last few weeks and over the start of this season before he got injured has been a bit of a worry. But I think those 3 guards, right? There's enough there to kind of buffer him and just say it's 11 minutes. That's okay. Like 11 minutes, and you get 11 minutes for Sean Bruce. It's probably not going to be great. I feel like he's a guy that needs 5 or 6 games of 25 plus minutes, and then he starts playing well, and then something happens, and then he doesn't play well, and then you're kind of left going like, oh, what was the point of those 8 games then? I guess. Yeah. Which at this point of the season, obviously, we need him back in some sort of great form, but you know, you can't expect that after an injury layoff like that. It was good to see at least against the Taipans, you know, a few assists. What did he have here? 4 assists. So as long as he dimes guys up, man, because there's guys to dime up. Like, you run a pick and roll with McCurr Maker, like you can get him a lob easily. Like even Cooks, like around the rim. All you need to do is come out and just run some high pick and roll, like you can get off a stagger. Like surely you can find some of those guys rolling to the rim. Tommy V get a 2-man game going, but yeah, hopefully we can relegate him back to 10 minutes in the finals as the rotation shortens. The Illawarra game though, it was a rough start to that game.
Yeah,
it was
It was a rough start to that game. It's
real contrast to that other game we played against them, where like we both started out the gate really, really well, and it was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. In this game, we started poorly, and it was like, geez, like, you know, is this going to be a blowout at home? Like to finish the season, like this sucks. And then
no Jalen Adams, I think. And some of those shots were falling flukily in the first quarter, like they were just hot. They had a really hot night and they cooled off, and it was just an insurmountable lead at that stage. Because that first...
I think we brought it all the way back.
Justin and Jessup. We tried to... We just didn't have the fight. Everyone was really tired.
Yeah.
To be completely honest with you.
I think without Adams...
I think that's where... Yeah, I think that's where Buford's going to have to really watch his minutes in this postseason, because we've got Thursday, Saturday, Tuesday...
Thursdays, Friday, Sunday, isn't it?
Friday, Sunday, Tuesday. That's a lot of games in 3 days. If you're playing 36 minutes a night.
But I mean, we've had some reduced minutes over the last few weeks, so hopefully you guys are a bit fresh. We did come off that long injury, the long tour of duty where we played, I think, like 7 games in 12 nights or 15 nights or something like that. It was something crazy like that. Culminating in that Adelaide loss. But I would have liked to see us win this game. At the end of the day, you know, you could look at this game and go, "Ooh, that's a tell." Like, you know, the Hawks really wrested one back from us after we kind of handed it to them in their arena. They got one back. But then you're right. You look at that first half shooting and you're just like, oh my God, they couldn't miss. They were just making everything. It's kind of Tyler Harvey and Jessup. Like, I like Jessup as a player, but I think he hits some shots where you're just like, really? Okay, sure. I don't necessarily think he's an all-round player. Obviously, he can spot up and shoot. And when they play make, you know, they've got bigs like Reith and Froling who can play inside, so they don't necessarily have to like swing the ball around and find guys on the outside and knock down shots. Their team like 3 or 4 years ago was a little bit more like that when they kind of had Emmett Nair and Greeter and guys like that. But now it's kind of a little bit more. They can go inside, they can go outside. And I thought it was a good test anyway because they kind of went inside. Sam Froling played quite well. Sam Froling's been pretty good this season. And if we can kind of rest that and Reith over... So rest that. If we can get like a handle over Froling and Reith at the very least, kind of dare Harvey to go off, like sure, hit some terrible shots, and then kind of go, yeah, okay, Jessup will dare you to beat us as well. I kind of like our chances, you know, with our try bigs. McCurr Maker, you kind of want a little bit more of. You'll be looking at him going, I want a series from you here, and then Wani, you know, he had 3 or 4 from 3 in this game, and like the whole crowd was just out on their feet. I thought the singularity was going to happen. I thought a wormhole was going to open up because he kept hitting these threes. And then if you have, our guards, some buy-in. So let's quickly, because this game, we don't want to talk about a loss, do we? A 3-point loss. Ian Clark at the end stepping out of bounds. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, that was it
was a bit ridiculous. And Xavier Cook's just getting absolutely trolleyed under the basket by two guys. And then it's just like, no, we don't call calls in the last 10 seconds of the game. Like, you don't get anything. Okay, just don't even call like an actual foul. Sure thing. And then, Chase Buford had a little bit to say about that. But this team, like, we've got, I think, it's under the hood, but you're looking at this team going, man, if we can get some sort of series out of Glover, a series out of Wani and Maker, and then, chip in from Bruce, Tommy V, then we can let Jarrell, Cooks, Clark, Jalen Adams, DJ go to work, right? Like we've finally got like this layering system in our team where you can kind of go, okay, well, like we've got some moves here to make in a playoffs environment.
Yeah. I would have to say that there has to be two on the floor at all times. DJ, Clark, Adams, and Martin. I think you can have Xavier in and out of those lineups, but I think you need to have two primary shooters on the floor at all times. And I think that's probably needed. I haven't been too critical of Buford's lineups because when you win 13, can you be? And I still think in this game, like, we didn't have Jalen Adams, but he went to some good lineups. I think we from what it was started off as, we actually pulled it back quite well, which gives me confidence going into this week. Is that if Ian Clark hadn't stepped out of bounds, that would have been game over. So we from where we came and how we pulled it back, I think we have the effective tools with the MVP hopefully coming back for this round to take this game and take the series and do it and get us down to Melbourne. Although you never know with those jack jumpers, they may put on their ski mask again and rob Melbourne outright, which would be fantastic.
That would be hilarious. Imagine if they made the
Tasmania just to watch it.
Imagine if Crush beat that team, man. That would be hilarious. That would be great. But no, good on the Jack Jumpers. A nice culmination for their season. Did the Phoenix make it in their first season? No, I think they finished just outside the finals. They had a little valiant.
The Phoenix have made the postseason yet. They just keep being on the precipice of the postseason. Or did they make?
Did they make one? I feel like they made one and then just got bundled out. But who cares about the Phoenix?
Yeah, okay.
Disappointing season for them. But Clark in general didn't really have a great night. 2 of 8 from 3, 3 of 16 from the floor. You'd be looking for him to have a much better night. 4 turnovers, 6 assists, diming the ball up. I just don't think he's ready to just play as a natural point guard in a team like this. I just don't know if he has that. Doesn't have that playmaking ability, and then you just go, the court's like also half a meter narrower, and and then a guy can just camp. So it just changes the way you got to think. Like we've seen NBA guys come over and struggle because essentially, that court's narrower, there's less spacing, and they can't shoot the ball like they would in an NBA game, like torch guys off the dribble and kind of get downhill. But we've seen Clark and Jalen Adams kind of find wrinkles and find ways around that.
Yes. But that's the intelligence of it, right? They're intelligent basketball. They've got high basketball IQ. And that's the most important thing. That's why he's the MVP.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Officially announced?
Officially announced. MVP.
Yeah, man.
And we can chant it on the weekend. We can actually chant it with confidence, knowing that is true.
Yeah, that was so good. That was so good in that other game. But yeah, top notch, top marks. That was just, what a season, man. Absolutely fantastic season. We're going to do we'll do some sort of wrap up probably after the playoffs. But yeah, what a season, man. Just great to watch. It's such a shame that he's just gotten this COVID thing like right at the end of the season. Like, cool, like right at the actual, like when we need you, you get COVID. Like, great.
He should be all right. He would be out of isolation by now, hopefully back training.
Yep. top notch. So yeah, he's got an MVP. That's a great finish for him. Have we seen MVPs from not the finishing top team before? Cotton?
It's been Cotton the last 2 years, and Perth have won one of two. So
I think we finished above him when he won MVP, when it clearly should have just been Jay Sean Tate.
Yes, or Bogut. Oh, Bogut won 3.
Yeah, Bogut was a nice little ski mask. That was a nice little ski mask as well.
He was pretty dominant, you'd have to say.
He was pretty dominant. You got to admit.
Just our team was shit.
Yeah, that team was so bad. The Gazy team. Tags. I love that one. Should we do 3, 2, 1 really quickly on this?
Yes, please.
This game. I had Cooks for 3 again. Spoiler alert. Yes. Should we just crown Cooks as the on the King's Dime MVP winner?
Is he got it? That's the has he got it?
You've still got to put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. So it could change.
Okay. Could change. Okay, well, I'm going to go Cooks 3.
Yep, Cooks 3 for me.
I'm going to go Jarrell 2, and I'm going to go Swaka.
Yeah. I went
look.
1 for 2. And then you had Martin. And then Wani for 1. And then Jarrell for me. And that ends a season of 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I'll get you to throw those in, and then we'll announce that on the next show. And there's no tipping, because the tipping has been finished. Crazy season. Do you want to do the honors of announcing?
Actually, no, we'll wait till the card arrives.
Spoiler alert. We'll wait till it arrives. The prop arrives. Nah, yeah, okay, yeah, sure. I haven't done art. I was going to do it today, but I've been busy for the last 12 hours straight, so haven't been able to do that. That's fun. But yeah, tipping, stay tuned. There is finals going on, so it's a nice excuse to just go, just hold tight. Hang on a little bit. And yeah, we'll make that announcement very soon. I'll do up some artwork, some final artwork. Thank you again, everyone, for entering the competition this year and making it all the way to the end. Really appreciate that. Hopefully next season we can get even more people and get that keep building, because it's a lot of fun. It was a majorly tight finish this season. Just crazy. How many just huge runs of 8 games, and it was just changing left, right, and center. It was just like this guy and this guy, that guy, this guy. I was like, whoa, just crazy stuff. So, and hopefully next season there won't just be and it was an 8 games round and now it's a 1 game round. Yeah, thanks for that, COVID. That was great. But yeah, so should we do any more on Jalen Adams winning MVP?
I think, unfortunately, his MVP status means that his time at the Kings may have come to an end. I think realistically, when you see the level of skill and talent in this young man, he will be at the helm of a European powerhouse or a backup in the NBA, because he's got the bounce, he's got the smarts, he's got the passing game, he's got the defensive game, a serviceable defensive game, and he's got the 3-point shot ability. So,
if you're him though, do you stay for another season and just go, man, I was MVP, I'll back it up? It's just so easy for him.
Yeah, it's hard.
He finishes the season 20.1 points per game. Averaging 20.1 points, 43% from the field, rather 39.6% from 3. I think that was the thing that kind of evolved through the season, was just he was just walking into these threes, and any time he was taking a 3, you were just like, yep, that's down 100%. He's gonna hit that, and that's one of the big things that's kind of propelled us this season. It was one of the things in that Adelaide game where he just nothing was happening. That game we lost, nothing was happening. He was just walking into threes, and you were just like, yep. And it just looked so easy being there in the arena, watching it. You were just watching it going that just looks so easy. He just makes this game look so easy, even though we lost that game. But
it does. And I think honestly that, he kind of fits the NBA fold. He's 6'2", He's athletic, and he's an MVP. It'd be hard pressed to keep him in this league without a. I'd really love to see it. I just don't know if we are going to see it, unfortunately.
Is it? I don't know, man. Like, is he big enough? Is he strong enough? Is he? I don't know. They're the questions, I guess. Is he big and strong enough? Is there a team out there who can get a guard that's kind of, seen as a dime a dozen type guard, quote unquote? I don't know, man. I like, you look at Jayshawn Tate. Is it a different scenario to a Jayshawn Tate who essentially got snubbed, then came down, like redemption type thing, knowing he was always going to head back? I think Jalen Adams it's a different situation, right? Because he played 2 seasons in the NBA G League.
G League, yeah.
And then it's more of a Chase Buford connection too, as well, with the Bucks. Yeah. I don't know how much of that connection was with Jayshawn Tate, where, I don't know, to me that felt more organic in that they picked up a college guy rather than there was a connection there. Yes. That somebody he coached. Will Weaver. I don't think he coached him out of No, who was it? No, it was LSU. He'd probably kill me for saying that. It was Ohio State.
Yes.
I don't know, man. I'd stay for me, like, for where he's at. Like, he could become easily like one of the legends of this league. I mean, financially, it's definitely a step down. And there's no two ways about that. But I guess you're at a franchise where it's not one of the basement dwellers too. Like, there is a chance to earn decent money, have a nice lifestyle.
Well, you would hope to. You'd hope that this league keeps growing in stature and money, and reading articles on the league. It is really a bit now. I think we're talking about the league being valued around $500 million, and we're starting to get more calls for expansion and all those good things. So I think expansion is probably a couple of seasons off. I don't think we have the talent pool in terms of watching the NBL one. We just don't have the talent pool, I think, to put on another 2 or 3. No, honestly, I think the jack jump. Yeah, I think you'd have to expand the number of imports allowed in your team to do that.
It's an age-old Australian issue, right? Like, everything is just too sparse to get huge collections of humans together to create really deep connections in sport. Like, it's in every sport. Like, every single sport you look at, any like, cricket at that level, football, soccer at that level, rugby league at that level starts to fall away, although there's a little bit more AFL. Is there even anything like that in AFL, since we're the only country that plays that rubbish game? If you look at it's just too sparse, man, because even like the way football has tried to get the FFA Cup off the ground, like, they'd be mad if you could see like Sydney Kings play, I don't know, like Auburn Leisure Centre, Chubb dudes or something, you know what I mean? Like, in some sort of cup game to grow that. But even then, like, what are you really growing? You're growing like nothing, basically. Like, are they even a real franchise type of thing?
I've been watching the NBL one as a bit of like a there's some teams in that have got some good players, and then I've seen some teams which, like, maybe there's an inequality of talent. No,
I could start for that team.
Yeah, some of them you could, right? There was some dudes that would, questionable bodies, but Lockie Hutchinson playing for the Sharks, you can see that he's that level guy that could make the leap in a couple of years, and it's good that the NBL one exists to give him that ability to play somewhat semi-professional team. And some of these NBL guys, in the deep roster will go and play in the New Zealand League. They'll go and play, because now the New Zealand League will start up, I think, July.
Siebel?
I think the New Zealand, the Siebel, and then obviously they go and play the NBL one as well, and they kill it, right? Because they're in that professional cast. That's where we kind of need to get. I would like to see 3 teams re-enter or enter the NBL. Townsville, because the Crocs were such a good franchise for so long, man. Mate, Corey Homicide Williams was a Croc. There you go.
There you go.
Canberra Cannons, I think, or Canberra as a team, I think got a 400,000 person population down there. It's the same size as Hobart. Hobart's actually smaller than Canberra, so there's a population there to have it, and there's a cry for it. They just don't have the facilities to do it.
Geographically, it's in a good spot too, right?
Geographically, it's in a good spot. Like, you've got surrounding areas. Canberra's a growing market. I think it's there. And the other one's Newcastle. I think there's probably a need to, a Central Coast is close enough to Sydney, to support. But Newcastle's becoming its own little shaped, city community. And I think that there's opportunities to place a team up there and have some sort of ability to have that. And I think we get to 14 teams. We get to start getting into the 33, 34 games a season. I think we start picking up a little bit better, because the more they play, the better they get.
Yeah.
And, I didn't see a lot of injuries this season, which was nice, which means that the courts were a lot better this season. I don't know if you noticed that. The decals were not slippery this season. Some OH&S dude has obviously gone on there and D's up.
Sprayed him down with the tack.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I still don't understand why they need stickers, man. Just why can't you inlay that stuff into wood? I don't get it.
You gotta buy Kmart stuff, man. If you support the NBA, I want to buy Kmart because it says on the
but they
floor.
inlay that stuff into the wood, and then lacquer over that stuff. You don't need to have stickers.
Oh, because it's multi-purpose.
Yeah. But still, come on, spend a bit more money for that, man. And at least we can spend money on that. Have you noticed that Adelaide's rims are back to those old crap rims?
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, really? You don't have those proper, proper nice, legit breakaway style rims? Wow, that's interesting. Isn't it fascinating when you look at some of these teams, you just go, yeah, some of these facilities probably do need a little bit of updating. I've been in that Auburn Centre, and you look at that and you're just like, the Kings train here? Really? Okay, yeah, cool. But then again, there's a lot of basketball culture in that too. I guess then that's a training facility. But there just isn't that heartfelt connection to the game in this country that, is in other countries in Europe and stuff like that.
We are a population of 25 million that have a die-hard interest in about 20 different sports on any one day. You go to the UK and it's football plus a little bit of rugby league and a little bit of rugby league in the north, a little bit of rugby union in the south, and some cricket in the south. But you've got some winter sports. There's summer sports, cricket, and that's 50 million people. America, it's 3 sports plus all the weird ones. It's basketball, NHL, baseball, also and American football. So 4, but then you've also, and that's a population of 360 million. We have rugby league, rugby union, soccer, football, AFL, basketball,
hockey,
cricket,
netball,
hockey. It's absurd. Swimming, swimming is a thing here. You've got a lot of sports for a very small population, and I think that's the struggle. But I think I'll give it to Larry Kesselman. He's started to create a really good product, a really thought out good product. I was impressed by the KO coverage this year. It hasn't been too bad, and ESPN coverage has been pretty good.
That's huge as well, right?
Well, they're paying for it.
It's a shame that it kind of got taken off of free platforms.
See, this is the thing. They have made all the finals free on KO Freebies.
Yeah, but KO Freebies are rubbish. And I'm still annoyed that they still advertise, get our cable service. It's way better. You get 4K. It's just what are you talking about? That's an ancient service. Why are you advertising the best quality on the ancient service? Anyway,
I can tell you what, I'll be canning KO as soon as Sydney is.
as soon as the basketball's finished, out of here. See you later.
I'll just, that's what I use.
And that's the beauty of it, right? That's the big thing too about cable networks is and cable streaming networks and cable networks is you can just unsubscribe at any time and then just subscribe back up at any time. And I don't think these companies weren't really ready for that. The freedom of choice in being able to just maneuver your way around this. And it's almost as though, to me, sports have just become way more ubiquitous now. And it's like, we don't need to battle anymore. Like, you don't need to go, we need to put this sport against that sport against this. Like, there's enough bandwidth for anything to exist, basically, if you have the right business model, if you attack it in the right way, if you make something that people want to watch and you have the internet now so people can watch it. But still, yet there is still just so much like money, so much just, back and forth on that sort of thing. And it's just like, we need to get away from that. And I think the sport will grow, the money will grow, but I still think like that's going to put downward pressure on how far it really does grow in the end, right?
Indeed. And it's really about the teams. I mean, all the teams to run at a loss. It's very hard to be profitable as a franchise. They just grow in capital sense. What is their capital value as an investment? But they all lose money hand over fist. And I think it's a couple of things. A is that we play 28 games, we play 14 home games a year. That's not enough. B is that the league probably hasn't got enough teams, and that's okay. It's growing. It's good. People seem to be in for the long haul. As good as their teams, like it was good to see 3,000 people at Cairns, rocking up Cairns on a dead rubber. That shows some mileage. And Tasmania's been a revelation down there. Packed out stadiums no matter what they would do. So,
going off, yeah.
I mean, that's great for the games. Merch. I think a big thing is getting into these cards. Why don't we have a domestic league cards where it's memorabilia and things like that? Imagine LaMelo Ball, what that would be worth as a domestic league signature. You know what I mean? They can sell the rights for that. Teams can. There's ways to be
entrepreneurial,
to make things better and to make things more inclusive. Get into the cards, get into the memorabilia, get into the teams.
It's like diversifying and then connecting people to it, right? That seems to be something that this country in general has a real struggle with, like to be inclusive or to make money. And you kind of like, you can't really, some businesses blend both really well and you go, yeah, fair enough. But then there's some businesses that just do not do that. And then you look at it and go, okay, sure thing. But yeah, I think big finals coming up. We're getting a little philosophical and deep on the eve of the playoffs. What do you reckon about this series coming up?
It'll rest on the first game. I think if Sydney can take the first game, it'll be over. It'll go to the team that takes the first game. It's
going to suck losing in your own building.
Well, it's that as well, but I have to say Brian Goorjian has that team pretty fit. They run the whole game. They are a fit team. And he's a smart coach. And he's built for this, right? He's built for the postseason. But he also has a whole bunch of fluky chuckers in that team. And Justin Jessup is kind of a fluky chucker. Tyler Harvey's definitely a fluky chucker.
And Cleveland too. He didn't play well in that other game that we beat them in, and then in this game he played really well. And that's kind of like that mid-range kind of in-betweener that you're like, ugh, that's that one guy, that kind of,
And you got, you got Del Reith, who my predictions of MVP fell a bit short, and he had a okay season, but should have been in the string, man. This league is not ready for someone who can stretch the floor. And here you can, and I was a bit disappointed in his showing, but I suppose it's a system player as well. He's not really out there to showcase his skills. He's in playing a system because that's what Goorjian does. And he's also got a whole bunch of air balls. So first game draws blood. I think takes the series. It'll be very hard to come down. I do think that they need to take both these series to 5 games. I think 3 games is just 3 games semi-final, 5 game finals. I think that's what needs to be looked at.
5 and 7.
No, 5 and 5. I think 5 and 5 is enough. We're not there yet. I think if we get to 14 teams, we could probably play. I don't know. I think the top 4 would just always play finals. I think we need these long drawn out playoffs. I think we can top 4
play-ins. Get some play-ins going.
maybe a play-in. As in terms of like Yeah, I don't know. You've got to play the same amount. That's food for thought. That's philosophical food for thought. But yeah, first raw blood. Adam's going to be a big part of it. Clark coming off in that bench role. Sean Bruce slotting in that facilitator role and not making dumb defensive decisions by just throwing himself in for no reason.
Barging dudes.
Just barging. Or just it's the dumb fouls. The dumb fouls. Like, I can handle him, but when he makes stupid fouls, I'm just like, why? It's non-tactical. You've just done this, and it's now we're in the bonus. What the fuck? Why?
There's always one, isn't there?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going to be huge, man. JA is going to have to be in MVP form, like to go out with the COVID protocol. I don't know if he actually had COVID, but to go out and then have to come back, you would hope that he's not rusty, because he's a huge part of what we've done this season, and he's going to be a huge part. Like, I think we've got enough weapons, even if he doesn't come back 100%. But at the same time, you don't want him missing shots regularly as well, and then derailing, that aspect of it, right?
Indeed. We'll wait and see.
Yep. We might leave it there. So yeah, playoffs, man. It's back. We're back. It's good. So yeah, Friday, Sunday, and yeah, it's gonna be great. We might try to come back Monday, depending on how the series is going. And have a quick chat about the games, and hopefully no disappointment. But as always, we are live right now on Facebook, so give us a like the page and the video. And also, if you want to watch this in replay, I'll put this up on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube tomorrow afternoon. I'll put that to premiere, and then also Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, the Anchor platform. You can listen to us in audio form. Subscribe, give us a rating and review. Get us out there to more Kings fans. And as always, we will see you guys next time
on the Kings Dive.